welcome back to Send Better Emails, another special episode, because we have another devilishly handsome guest with us today. We have Nathan Lomax from Quickfire Digital. We just have to imagine that everyone's applauding at this point when I announce that.
Yes.
Yeah, standing ovation already for Nathan Lomax. Yeah, thanks for coming on, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you for having me. When you said devilishly handsome, I was like, does James not normally join? And I was like, oh,
yeah.
well, I'm here. This is cute. Yes, very kind. Thank you.
Nice. We are kind of developing a bit of like a format for these now with guests. So a quick fire question round. And we didn't name it after your agency, the quick fire. Yeah.
That's trademarks, mate. I'm not sure you can do first failure. That's it.
Yeah. This is the quick fire round. Few questions. So yeah, favorite book can be fiction, non-fiction.
Never Enough, Barista to Billionaire by Andrew Wilkinson. I just read that recently. Cracking read about some guys that actually have similar crossovers to us, albeit not billionaires. But they essentially started from very humble beginnings, got involved in the Shopify app ecosystem, also in agency land, and kind of kept chasing, and then was like, actually, when's enough? And I thought that was a really poignant read. So to anyone that feels like they're on that kind of hamster wheel, I would suggest reading that book.
Okay, I'm sold. I'm not a billionaire. I don't know what the word is for what we are. Dozenaires?
Yeah. Pubic hairs?
Yeah. Penny hairs. That's what we'll be. Penny hairs.
Okay, penny hairs. Yeah, I like that. So that was Barista to Billionaire, right?
Yeah, Barista to Billionaire. Andrew Wilkinson. Good book. Yeah, nice. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cool. One linked influencer that you actually like or enjoy, if you like any of them.
Yeah, well, I really like a lady called Sabrina Chavanis. I don't know if you know Sabrina.
Yeah, I think we've spoken to her before.
Spends her time just calling out bullshit online. I really like it because in this world of like fake, it's really refreshing when she just like, this happened. It was all of a facade. It wasn't how it seemed. And then it doesn't make you feel quite so insignificant. We're like, oh, all right, someone hacked their way to doing that. They didn't just achieve that naturally. So yeah, I like how Sabrina goes about it. She doesn't pull any punches. She doesn't seem to worry about fitting in. She just calls a spade, and I've got a lot of time for that. So I would say her.
Nice. Awesome.
That's a good answer. Have you seen the HMRC of football, Nathan?
No.
This guy that basically pulls up like podcast clips from like Rio Ferdinand and is like, is this actually true though? And then like digs into like whether it's a truth or a lie. And I feel like she sounds like the HM. Yeah, she sounds like the HMRC of LinkedIn, just like calling
really
out the bullshit. She's certainly
the HMRC of agencies, where she's like, this person grew their agency to 50 mil. No, they didn't. They lied.
Nice. Yeah. That's what I need.
Nice. Okay. Newsletters. Do you subscribe to any newsletters, and do you enjoy them? And if there's one that you do enjoy.
A couple. I think it's Internet Retailing has quite an interesting newsletter, but that's because selfishly I like to just see what's going on and try and keep a finger on the pulse. Is it a bit egotistical to say the Quickfire newsletter? I don't know if that counts, but that's my favourite newsletter. I like proofing it anyway. I always enjoy. I don't know why. Like obviously, James writes a lot of copy for it, and I always read it and think if I was to speak, I would have spoken like that, but I haven't spoken. That like always fills me with joy. So maybe that.
Nice. Thanks for the cheeky plug there as well.
Yeah, Nathan's our first guest that's also a client, by the way. We should have stressed that at the start.
Yeah, there we go.
And no brown envelopes have been sent in the process of this recording. So
nice.
Genuine.
Just got my wife off camera in Nathan's house, just holding a gun to his head.
Wonder what you're going to say then.
Well, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to pull her up on that. Okay, one person, alive or dead, to have dinner with.
Robin Williams.
Oh, that's wholesome.
I used to love him, and I was gutted when he sadly died. And so, yeah, I would definitely have dinner with him. He just used to crack me up every time I listened to him. And he actually speaks some real wisdom as well. I think alive would be Jimmy Carr, and because I love his comedy, but actually when you get him in a one-to-one setting, he did a podcast with Stephen Bartlett, and that guy is smart. Like, he's unbelievably quick-witted, and that cracks me up. But actually, when he talks about serious subjects, he also makes very valid points. So yeah, I'd love to spend some time with Jimmy Carr, 1-to-1.
Okay, nice. I like the Robin Williams answer. That's very wholesome. Made me feel all
that
fuzzy.
hit me. That hit me hard.
Mrs. Doubtfire, mate. It was the ultimate. Such a childhood memory. I love that film.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Bicentennial Man was my favourite of his.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously,
mine was Flubber.
Flubber. Great film.
Nice. Okay, one thing to ban from existence.
Baked beans.
I'm with you on that.
Baked beans actually make me gag. I think it's because when my brother was growing up, all he ate was baked beans and Smarties, like literally the diet of champions. And so now the smell of them, like famously, I moved in with Nikki and Evie, stepdaughter. She was kind of like massively anti-wasabi, and we had fish fingers one night, and I like posted some wasabi inside the skin of the fish finger and just like said nothing. And sure enough, she took a whole mouthful of it and was like mortified. And anyway, a couple of weeks later, sure enough, we had fish fingers again, and she snuck a baked bean under the skin of the fish finger. And honestly, I was like retching. They're horrendous things. They are disgusting, and they should be banned from this planet.
I don't know where to start with that.
No, I don't.
Of all the things I thought I might hear today, sneaking a baked bean under the skin of a fish finger was not one of them.
But the wasabi thing that's just super cruel.
Yeah, that is. I was like, let's set the foundation here. This is how it's going to work. And then when I got her own back, I was like, actually, I feel horrendous because that is vile.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. Cool. Okay. Biggest fuck up or situation you've had to pick yourself up from?
God, how long you got? There was one very famously where we won in the start of lockdown a contract that looked like it could be worth around £1 million. And it was unbelievable. And it looked like it was going to save the agency. And it was all very exciting. And we were doing these little Ecom stores for like $4 or $5 grand. But en masse, like a lot of them. And then, I sold one the person I was selling them through, sold one for 10 grand. And at the time I was like, fantastic, that's brilliant. And then they sold this person a second one for 3 grand. And I was like, okay. And then that person called me up and said, basically I've been sold this site for 3 grand. And I said, I'm not being funny, but I wouldn't get out of bed for 3 grand. So I doubt it was from us. And I thought I had a better relationship with them, and they just pulled the plug on both contracts, and the whole £1 million deal fell through on the basis that it was going to be difficult to work together. And I thought, fucking hell, that was probably not my finest moment, and took some serious recovering, and really hit my ego hard, because I was like, you're gonna, you kind of build rapport with clients, you get friendly with them, you just start chatting to them like you normally would, and I thought we knew each other well enough to be like, obviously, I would get out of bed for less than 3 grand, but the concept was it wouldn't have been me that said that, and that got taken to the extreme, and the whole project got pulled. So that was a disaster.
That's a bit of a sucker punch.
Oh, yeah. That hurts. Damn, that's a good one though. How did you pick yourself up, Nathan? What words were you saying to yourself? What was your internal monologue that day?
I think it was probably Martin just bashing me over the head. It was probably the recovery I needed. But no, to be fair, like, there's been a couple, not necessarily of those, but I look back and I go, there's been plenty of times where it hasn't always gone to plan, in all sorts of shapes and sizes, right? Like, I remember famously doing a sleep out with the team when we had, like, Carrow Road used to let out their space outside the stadium, and we got all the team sleeping there. And I remember that was a disaster. I mean, for the 3 founders, it was fine, right? Because we were all just super knackered and working too hard. So we just started snoring within about 5 minutes. But for the team, they're up all night, freezing cold, hating it. Like, there's just so many things where you go with good intentions, and then it's just like, maybe not being as quite as you'd hoped. There was another classic, actually, was we hired a boat on the Norfolk Broads for all the team, and I gave it the Barry Big Potatoes that I was like a professional captain and drove boats all the time. And as I've gone to remove the boat from the dock, or I have smashed into the boat in front of us and delayed the trip by 4 hours on a 5-hour boat journey because they're trying to fix it.
No.
We literally sat there playing music, eating a picnic in a stationary boat from where we picked it up. Most bang average team social of all time, all because I couldn't contain my ego that I was so good at driving boats, I didn't need any help getting it out, and I just smashed into the boat in front. So that was also another shocker.
Okay. But none of them are baked bean under fish finger worthy.
None of them.
None of them are as bad as that. Okay, flipping it slightly, your favorite memory or one thing that you're most proud of?
Yeah, I guess like work and personal. So I got engaged recently, and that's, well, at the time it was not a favorite memory because you took like a minute to say anything, and I was like, this is just a disaster. Just say no.
Yeah.
But actually looking back, that was a great memory, and to be there with the kids. We've had a couple of really nice family holidays. Actually, it was on that holiday. It was for Nikki's birthday, and we were just there and we were drinking nice wine and just having a fantastic meal and overlooking the sea. And I was like, this is what it's all about. This is mega. So that would be from a personal point of view. From work, we've won a couple of great projects. One recently, a football club, and I'm a massive sports fan. And in the coming weeks, it will be public and everyone will see it, etc. And going to the stadium to pitch and then winning it, when they called me, I ran around my parents' living room screaming down the phone, like the most unprofessional thing ever, where it's like, just called to tell you you've been successful in the project. I was like, yeah, just like running around the lap. I was like, what is going on? My parents are there. They're like, what has happened? I say, you don't understand. Like, I've been wanting this so bad and it's happened. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to launching it and showing everyone. But that is definitely one of my proudest achievements is winning that project and now hopefully delivering a very successful project off the back of it.
Nice. That's awesome.
Amazing.
And it's under wraps. It's under wraps for now, is it?
Yeah, only for like a couple of weeks, and then it goes out. They're actually launching on my birthday. So I said that I expect their whole C-suite to call me personally and wish me happy birthday with cakes and candles. So whether that happens or not, remains to be seen. But yeah, I'll be launching on my birthday. Nikki actually asked me what I want to do for my birthday, and I was like, well, I'm launching this site, so not a lot. So yeah, maybe the birthday's delayed this year.
Maybe on your birthday, you just sat there clicking refresh over and over again.
Yeah, exactly right. Just incognito, just constantly refreshing. Yeah, perfect.
Nice.
That's amazing. Did you have to do that pitch on the pitch, by the way, Nathan? Is that how it works?
Sadly not. I would have loved to do it on the pitch in the goal mouth, but no, I went up into one of the stands and sat with them and presented, and I was nervous, really nervous.
Yeah.
But yeah, felt like it went well. And then sure enough, won it. There's been a couple. There's another one recently, which hopefully gets signed next week. And I met her a few weeks ago, and she's from a very well-known company. And again, it was like super daunting, but then super exciting and just the loveliest person. It's a bit like when you meet certain people and perhaps you know of them, you just go, oh, how's this person going to be? And she couldn't have been more pleasant. She was absolutely lovely, and we had a really nice time. And I think, yeah, that kind of restores your faith in humanity, where it's like, you're actually just a really good person. Nice. This is going to be great. So yeah, fingers crossed on that one. I think the joy of running an agency is you're always 2 projects from being full and 2 projects from having a massive hole. And so, yeah, like that could be the 2 projects that solve the hole. They could not sign or delay till the new year, etc. And then I've got a gaping hole and we'll have to discuss it.
Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Keep us updated.
Cool.
Jamie's doing everything in his power not to make a joke about you talking about holes, Nathan.
Yeah, I did. I can see little smirk from both of you. Like,
I can see it. The cogs are whirring. He's thinking, should I?
I've got my professional hat on, so I can't. I did have this image of Nathan on the pitch, pitching, and just like kicking the ball in at one end and being like, we don't want your Shopify store to be an own goal. And then running up the other end and being like,
oh my God,
we want it to be a screamer in the top corners and kicking it in the other net. I wonder how that would have gone down.
Yeah,
so
or being like, or like flashing a ball across the box and being like, we're not about the corridor of uncertainty here at Quickfire, something like that. I don't know.
And then Martin runs across and like converts the cross, and it's like we're all about conversions.
Top corner. I tell you what, maybe we should just do football-related puns all day. This could be great.
Yeah.
Nice. Cool. So that's the quickfire round. The quickfire round done. I like those answers. They were good.
Yeah, really good.
James, you spoke last time when we had a guest on about making some of the questions a bit tastier, a bit spicier. Did you have any spicier questions that you wanted to ask?
No, I felt like the Banned from Existence one was good.
Okay, yeah.
That was new. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And I felt like, like Nathan bought the spice,
Okay, good.
We gave him the chicken wing, but he bought the sauce.
He bought the wasabi.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Nice. Okay, cool. Nate, I want to chat to you about a couple of things you got going on at the moment, because you're the kind of guy that always seems to have so much going on, and there's a couple of exciting things I want to shine the light on a little bit, and then we're going to talk about e-commerce as well. Obviously, paddle is all the rage at the moment. You kind of, I don't want to say dragged me to an event, but you very courteously invited me to an event. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. Never played it before. I've not typically always been sporty either. But I loved it. How did that come about, starting these paddle events?
Well, so there's a guy called Josh Bolland that pre-Quickfire, I used to work with an agency called Bolland & Co. And they would send us kind of smaller leads and stuff like that. And he said about maybe doing a paddle event in Manchester. And I was like, God, fancy that. I equally had never played. So I thought, that sounds great. So I went up to Manchester, played. I love my sports and I played a lot of sports. And we're in this kind of, there was two groups, like an experienced group and a beginners group. Played, they had like an hour's lesson first for the group, and then we ended up just going into like a tournament and playing loads of matches, and it was so fun. Did that and ended up winning a racket. So then I was like, okay, well now I think it's called a racket, maybe a paddle, I guess that's what it's called. So I want a paddle. So then I was like, okay, well, actually, you know what? Like a couple of years ago, we ran 45 events, right? And they were all dinners, lunches. And I mean, by this time, my belly's expanding like beyond belief. And so I'm like, I need to find something that's like a little bit more active than 3 courses and 9 glasses of wine. So I thought about this Ecom paddle league. And when I was playing in Manchester, I played with a really nice guy and a good friend of mine called Luke from Inspirer. Runs a great Shopify agency down south in Devon way. And I was like, okay, well, maybe him and I could do like a bit of a collaboration on this. Like, we want to play anyway, and we could just once a month with Ian Rabbage at Alvio. Do you know Ian? He's a great guy. Yeah, so it's like the 3 of us, let's just do something. And so we just, no kind of stress or aggro in terms of organising it. It was just book a court, which to be honest is the hardest part. Book a court and then just turn up. And you know what? We'll just invite a couple of brands. And there'll just be a couple of brands, 4 or 5 of us play, amazing. So we did the first one. We did it with Anthony from Self Portrait and Tom from Milo, like really good guys. Tom popped his quad in the match, or his calf, just before he went on holiday, which wasn't ideal. Nice. But yeah, we had a really good time. And then we went to this unbelievable Vietnamese restaurant for a bit of dinner, and it was really nice. And I was like, you know what? Because I'm running an event tonight, right? And you get this unbelievable anxiety in a couple of hours before, and then this unbelievable euphoria in a couple of hours after. And with this, it was just like much more level, where I was like, you know what? If just 3 of us turn up, we're just going to play paddle. And if 5 of us turn up, we're just going to play paddle. And there's no one sponsoring it. And there's no one like, oh God, what about if this person doesn't show, or this person's late, etc. What about if they don't like the food? It was just like, if you want to play. If you don't. And it was super casual. So set that up, started running it. We've got one tomorrow, actually. Got a couple of brands coming along as well. And yeah, I've done, I think 3 of them we've done now. The trouble is I do them in Stratford at the Paddle Club, and it's great. But the only time you can get is like 9:30 p.m. So we'll have a bit, and then we'll go and play. So that'll be good. And then Josh's one, he did the one in London. Obviously, you very kindly came along. Really enjoyed that one. And then it will go back to Manchester, and then we'll come back to London. I mean, doing it all the way in Barnet was a bit of a chore, but it was a really nice club, and the facilities were great, and great lot of people came along. So yeah, keen to keep doing it. Just want to find more events that are a bit different. I feel like the event thing is getting a little saturated by another dinner, and we're massively culprits for that, right? We've been doing loads of them, but I feel like there's got to be more to life. And actually, if I enjoy it and I'm kind of and it's business related as well, then it's a double win. And so is that, or like, okay, can I go and get a box at Man U and claim to do some work? Don't know, but that paddle feels like a bit of a middle ground, where it's not quite a box United, but it's not just another dinner.
Yeah, and it actually made getting to know people much less awkward as well, because you're kind of just on a court and already, you know, for me, it was the first time I played, so I was just fucking up, and so was the person I was playing with, and you just kind of broke the ice. So I really liked that. And it's easy to play. It's easy to play, but I guess hard to master, right? Paddle.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's super easy to pick up. I mean, you're an absolute bandit for someone who's never played. You were just like in the semi-finals and doing extraordinarily well. And I was like, oh yeah, this is a guy that's never played before. I swear, like, he's really honest. But it was really good fun, right? And everyone was super inclusive and welcoming and supportive. And the nice thing is, actually, everyone was a fairly similar level. Like, there was no one that stood out as like not a good player. Everyone could return the ball over the net, which is kind of fundamental.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you had good rallies and you had good points, and yeah, it was good fun.
Nice. Speaking about talking about events, just a quick roundup of a few of the ones that you're responsible for or coming up or whatever. You've got Ecom Collab Club, you've got Engage with Ecommerce, you've got Retail Retreats. Talk to us quickly about what those three look like and why people should come along.
Yeah, so I mean, Ecom Collab Club originally was set up by Adam and Bob at Blend. Now Rich Evans from Get Better and I kind of co-host it with those guys. Really nice laid back format. They get different panelists as speakers. And we just talk about kind of challenges going on in the industry at the moment, and there's always some good conversations to be had. It's agency, tech, and there's brands as well, so they're really nice, and I encourage you to get along to those. There's normally about 120 to 160 people, something like that. It's in a cinema in Leicester Square. It's normally the second Wednesday of the month. The next one falls on my birthday, so I won't be going. But in the new year, I'll certainly get back to it, and I'm looking forward to those. They're always, no one takes himself too seriously, which is really good fun. You kind of almost take down the mask and you're just like, you know what, if you don't like it, then maybe don't get up at 8 a.m. and go to something else. So I like that. The Engage with Ecommerce, we just did one a week or so ago. There's about 50 or 60 of us at Batch in London. They're a brand I invested in, and I love those guys. And really nice venues, like event space downstairs, actually, which doubles up as a changing room, which is really cool. So yeah, had a really good time down there. Thought it was a good event, actually. It was really intimate. There's some great people there and some good conversations. We were talking about kind of mental health and ecom, which is not a topic I've heard widely talked about, which is just like, is everyone else like burnt out in the run up to peak? And I guess the overarching statement was everyone's just knackered, and we're now going into the busiest period of year, but we're already running on empty. And how does that happen? And what toll does that have? And when's enough and all that good stuff. So that was really fun. The retail dinners, we still do loads of those. And retail retreats is a new sub brand that I've been building out, looking at possibly going away, taking some brands overseas, or potentially up to North Norfolk or something similar. It's still in its infancy, and I'm thinking about, do I do it, do I not do it? Again, back to that, when's enough? There are other people. If you look at the lovely ladies at Rainy, so Beck Worsley up there, she's super, she runs retreats. Like, do I need to also do retreats, or do I just try and support her in some capacity? So I learned there's some great events out there now. I mentioned about Rainy, and they've got obviously D2C Live. They do some great events. You've got Kev Trainer out in Ireland doing some great events. It's a really nice ecosystem of partners doing some fantastic things. You've got Pulse. There's now Dreamland coming up in a few weeks. There's some great events out there, and that's really nice. I guess, like, is there room for another 15 conferences or 20 dinner variations? Probably not. I've seen a few people going a bit more experiential, like pasta making or wine tasting or whatever. Great. The thing about like wine tasting sessions, I think more and more people are realizing that you don't have to drink at those kind of things. A lot of people drink to try and fit in or to break the ice, but I think more and more people are going, you know what, like, this is the version of me I'm comfortable with, and if you're not, then so be it.
Yeah, nice. That's awesome. I'm going to drop your LinkedIn page into the notes of this show as well. So if anyone's got any questions about any of those events, you can contact us, or you can contact Nathan about those. And just quickly, you're also working with your new fiancée in some capacity on Snoop Boutique. Do you want to give us a quick rundown on what that is and lessons you've learned?
She's done amazingly well. So she set it up last year. She wanted to get out of corporate. She's always had a passion for buying clothes. Some say addiction, some say passion. We can work that one out. But she's got a real eye for this stuff. And so she, we started doing it, and it started getting momentum. And I mean, she's working harder than she's ever worked. She's we kind of get home, and I think everyone has this idea of this like romantic dinner and watching telly together, and the reality is we're just both on our laptops, just like not talking. But we're trying to build businesses, right? And yeah, she's done exceptionally well. We love our buying trips together. We're going buying on Friday, which is nice. She's buying all over the world, which is really fun. She's got a great client base. It's typically ladies that are perhaps using clothes to hide something in their life. So it might be the menopause, it might be a skin condition, it might be weight, it might be insecurities in other capacity, whatever it is. It's about how by dressing appropriately and properly, you can be your best self. And that's been a message really resonating. She's doing some great pop-ups at ladies' houses. We've got one next weekend, and she's got one next Wednesday, actually, and next Saturday. And then we're going away for a bit. But yeah, she's doing exceptionally well. We're testing different channels, which I thought would be relevant to today's conversation. Is starting a brand from zero. I'm often asked, like, well, where do you start? And there's like traffic and conversion, right? It's two components. So, okay, I can spin up a Shopify store, use a theme off the shelf and get it off the ground, no problem. The reality is it's pointless unless you're driving any quality of traffic. So it's like, okay, what are we doing? Like, are we building a community? Are we then having an email newsletter? Are we using Klaviyo or something similar? What are we doing with Google Ads or Google Shopping? Are we starting to test that as a channel? So imagine like this spider diagram, and we're like, okay, let's say affiliates, SEO, Google Shopping, paid social, organic social, email, like all these different components. And we're just trying to test each one and try and see some green shoots to say, look, if I spend 500 quid a month on Google Ads, can I break even? If I can, then amazing, because actually I'll make my money on the second purchase or third purchase. Or can I try the same budget but within Meta and see if there's a better response? What about if we just really target it to the local area? People have a little understanding of the brand and might have seen it around, etc. So does that help? Do we need to run them in conjunction with each other, or do we run them against each other? And they're all things I'm kind of really enjoying learning and playing and practicing with. I guess the challenge is always time, right? You're trying to grow your own agency. It's now 40 odd people. Like it's growing great. We're winning great clients, and that's amazing. But it takes her any time really to support Nick on this. So she's doing a lot of it on her own and doing exceptionally well. I'm super proud of what she's doing. I just wish I could maybe give her some more time, because the reality is it's really fun, right? When we spend some time together and we're chatting and we're buying and we're looking at different routes to market, that's really enjoyable. But it's always 10 o'clock at night, 5 in the morning, like just the most inappropriate times to discuss that, when we're all just knackered and we want to sleep.
For sure.
That's a real challenge. And I guess a challenge for any brand, right, is you try, or any business really, you trying to grow something, but at the same time, when you're growing multiple things, it's what takes priority and how do you fit it all in? And actually, what I've found is across multiple businesses now, they always just like kick up a little fuss when you lead them to least. So it's like everything's calm, it's all good, you feel in control, and then this one, just a little mole pops up and you go to address it, and then a mole pops up over there, and you go, not now, I'm just dealing with this thing now. And then all of a sudden it pops up and you're like, oh, of all the times it could have popped up. And then, all the time, I guess a bit like in your house when the dishwasher breaks and you think, oh, it's $1,000 I could do without, and then suddenly the shower goes and you go, oh right, okay, like make it rain. Same with growing a business really, and multiple businesses. The biggest thing is time discipline, and that's something we probably haven't got right at the moment, because you need to find the discipline to remain as a couple and spend time together, and the discipline to spend time growing the business. And at the moment, all time kind of blends into one, and we just do as much as we can, as efficiently as we can. So that's something we're going to have to work on.
Nice. Okay. So we know that Nathan has a dishwasher that's worth in excess of £1,000 if that's how much it's going to cost.
I was going to say, baller.
It does cartwheels, this thing, don't you know? It's incredible.
Nathan, I'm really interested to know a little bit about what it's like being the other side of the coin, right? Because you run Quickfire, you're used to being agency side. How's it been with Snoop, sort of seeing it from the other side?
Eye-opening, really eye-opening. I think previously most of the brands we work with are fairly established, and so they're normally £1 million upwards. They've normally got teams, etc., are going right to the start, right? So you're building and you've got a bit of money in the account, like that's fantastic, and then suddenly you're out laying it all on stock, And then you're like, actually, with clothes in particular, different sizes, different cuts, different materials. Like there's so many variables that you're like, okay, have we not bought all the clothes we need now? We've got like 9 tops. And it's like, yeah, all in a small. Like, what about all the different sizes? Oh, all in beige. Okay. And then like when I see something, I've got such an unconscious bias of what I like. So I'm like, I think we should buy these. Oh, they come in packs of 6 or 12. And I'm like, well, I don't want 12 of them. Like, I might try 2 and then see if they go and then buy 2 more. The trouble is, you go to buy 2 more, they've sold out. It moves so fast. So you're like, oh, this is nice. The other thing is you can buy from brand or you can buy from like wholesaler. When you buy from wholesaler, they don't always come with great photography. So then you've got a whole separate requirement to get photography done. And if it's just Nikki on her own, it's pretty hard to put the item on, take the photo and everything without any support. So that's a challenge. Whereas when you buy from brands, you normally get brand imagery, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I mean, it's been so eye-opening, really enjoyable. And on balance, I think the thing is we're maybe a bit hard on ourselves. She's done unbelievably well, but we're always trying for what's next. Oh, it'd be nice if we had a few more brands. Be nice if we had a few more customers. Be nice if we did another record month. Like, I'm trying to say to her, like, this is the target. Once you've hit the target, that's it. But my, I guess, naivety is like, well, if you do your target in week 1, just close for the other 3 weeks. Well, of course, people then decide, actually, I'm not going to buy from there. I'm going to buy somewhere else. And you lose a custom. So you can't close, right? So it's 24/7 and people are messaging at 10:30 to say, can you literally send me the measurements of those jeans? And you got to get up off the couch and measure them. And that's something I perhaps didn't quite appreciate when my job at Quickfire is to improve conversion and get people through the funnel as efficiently as possible. I'm now thinking, actually, there's a person at the other end of that that's having to pick, pack, dispatch, handle returns. That's another thing, right? Some people are, I bought 2 pairs of jeans. One wasn't right size, sent one back. No problem at all. Really nice message. Thanks for your custom. Another one, I can't believe I had to pay for returns. We'll never shop with you again. Well, when you've had like a bit of a rough day, just getting that over like a £3 return, you just go, seriously? Like, how unreasonable. I'm just trying my best to build a business. If we covered all the costs of returns and shipping and everything, there would be no business. So like, you've got to kind of find the balance. And yeah, people can be really, really harsh. Like people can be amazing and you find out your true friends, I think, when you're running a business and people are supporting you and sharing posts. And we've had some wonderful people supporting Snoop, some really good friends. But you also get some absolute arseholes that you just go like, is this literally your job to just like be a keyboard warrior and order product and send it back and just write really shitty messages? When there was another one recently where they hadn't received the item. So then we sent them another item and then they received both items. And because sure enough, the first item was sent as we said it had been sent. But actually she was really lovely. And she was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, thank you so much. You know what? They're both really nice. Can I keep them both? It was like, yeah, amazing. But yeah, some people are just like, oh, it took 2 days to arrive. Well, I'm sorry, Royal Mail didn't send it yesterday. I sent it yesterday. I can't do any more than that.
So,
yeah.
There we go. Get it all off your chest, Nath.
So I was going to say, this is fantastic, mate. Wonderful.
Okay, nice. And we'll move on from Snoop, but what's the web address? Where can people go to have a look at these clothes?
www.snoop-boutique.co.uk.
Nice. We'll put that link in the notes as well. Okay, there's kind of some e-commerce and Shopify related questions that we want to ask you now, because what we're hoping is that people in the e-commerce space are listening to this. Well, we hope that anyone's listening to it, but hopefully, people in the e-commerce space are listening to it, and potentially brands. And we're in a position now where we send episodes of our podcast to clients as well, especially if we feel like they're having problems and we've had a guest on where we're talking about that. And so my first question, Nath, is if we think about Shopify stores, right? Or if we think about e-commerce stores, but specifically Shopify, because that's where you're specialized. Like, if you had to point to 3 things that make really good Shopify e-commerce stores, what are those like 3 non-negotiables, those 3 things that sets you apart, that really moves the needle?
Okay, so the first to say is around user experience. So you'll see it talks about as UX in the game, and forgive me if that's like super simple, but clean, basic UX that follows standard principles. That means the cart is top right. and the buttons are easily legible, and there's not 15 steps to get to checkout, and there's not 19 variations to select said product, you will be amazed how many stores we come across that try to boil the ocean, like on the initial engagement. You think actually so much of this information you could probably catch later, whether it be in a post-purchase email flow or something similar. We don't need to get it all now. And so that to me is pillar number one, is clean, simple UX. Like, I understand you don't want to look like every other store, but at the same time, there are some guiding principles that are almost non-negotiable, such as the cart top. I always say, like, who in their right mind would put the cart bottom left or something like that? Like, everyone knows the basket is up there. Everyone knows a traffic light is green. Like, those things are just a given, so don't mess with it.
Yeah.
The second is Shopify is amazing in terms of its integrations, and there's 12,000 apps in the ecosystem growing all the time. But people's tendency to try and solve the problem just through apps, like, this isn't a plug to use our agency, like, use anyone you like, but don't just solve the problem with the app, because what you end up doing is sometimes papering over a crack. So there's a time and a place for apps, and you want to prove a concept. Let's say you want to roll out a subscription program or similar. We're going to use a recharge, we're going to use recur pay, we're going to use whatever we're going to use, like, no problem. But at the same time, like, there are certain things like a wish list I can think of, or potentially a side cart or a mega menu where you go, you could just build that. Like, I'm not sure you need an app to do that particular function, or a size guide, or like ingredients. I was just going to use this app. Like, why don't we just use a meta object or a meta field or similar? And that to me baffles me. And I think, okay, we're cutting corners and we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, because you save at the time, although you're then paying a monthly fee, and as soon as you get rid of it, it's gone. But then also you end up spending money trying to speed the site up anyway. And you go, well, if you just did it properly the first time around, you probably wouldn't have that issue. So that's the second thing, is like the jungle of apps. And when you get them all working nicely together, unbelievably powerful. And we talk about like this default tech stack that goes, actually, what are we doing for SMS? What are we doing for WhatsApp? What are we doing for email? What are we doing for fulfillment? What are we doing for returns? What are we doing for loyalty, reviews? Like, there's a fairly standard list. And then you might get the odd extras that are bolted in. But by and large, I'd say most have like 7 to 10, really, maybe some less. If you've got like 30, 40, 50, maybe you need to have a think. Because also a lot of people have apps that they try, they don't particularly get on with, and then they just uninstall but leave in there, or they don't uninstall, they just abandon it. And you just go, okay, you realize you're paying for this thing, right? And I see this a lot with brands going from Shopify Advanced to Shopify Plus. They're on like 5 million quid and they're still on Shopify Advanced. Like, if you just do the simple payment calculation of payment fees, and you're like, okay, 5 million quid at 1.3% versus 5 million quid at 1.5%. Yes, you're paying a bit more here, but you're saving money in fees over here. And there's that critical mass, and people just kind of forget about that. And I think that's really important. So that would be my second. The third, for me, the best ecom stores are those that integrate online and offline and have this omni-channel approach. And you're seeing this more and more with Shopify's POS, so it's point of sale system, where you can go into a store, or I can go online and people know me and the value to the business. So I can go, imagine one of our clients, Fourth Glade, a dog food brand. Just use the link to the dog. Actually, what are they doing in supermarket? What are they doing online? If they were doing a pop-up, like, could they use Shopify POS? And can we just have like a single joined up view of the customer? Supermarkets is harder, and like in retail, or Amazon, where sometimes you don't own the data. But particularly like if you've got a bricks and mortar store and you've got an online business, like, how do we sync that customer? So then I know the true value of the customer to the business. So like one view of the customer is something we talk about. So those to me are the 3 pillars. I mean, there's probably a bonus pillar around attribution, which is, while it's not Shopify specific, like, we need to understand how we're properly attributing. Is it first click? Is it last click? Is there something in between? Like, how do we just make sure that the right channels are being rewarded? Because at the minute I see too many people just basing it all on last click, and you're like, yeah, okay, I might have got them over the line, but all these things that happened beforehand, like, allow this thing to happen. Vice versa. Oh, we once did this campaign over here, and therefore we're going to give all the credit to there. It's like, if I didn't send the email follow-up or something else, it wouldn't have happened. So I think that's just a big thing for brands to try and unpick and work out. And I still see so many stores where the tracking is off, pixels not set up properly, like real messy stores, which is a shame. But that's the trouble in an unregulated industry, right? Where, I'm not saying we're perfect, but at the same time, there's anyone can build a Shopify store. Anyone, right? So actually, that means anyone can install the app, which means anyone can log into the code base and write a line of code. Like, and now you've got vibe coding and ChatGPT and Lovable and those kind of things. Like, anyone can try and hack their way to something. And sometimes it works, right? And you go, that's amazing. Like, really cool. You've saved yourself some time. Congratulations. It's written you 55 lines when it could have written you 3, but it solved the problem. And that's, to be honest, what most people care about, right? In brand side, I just want the problem fixed.
Yeah.
The challenge is when it doesn't, and then you've got to unpick it and you've got to untangle it. And it doesn't think about, imagine a game of chess. It doesn't think about move 2, 3, and 4. It just thinks about move 1, right? So it goes, I'm just going to do this to solve this problem. Yeah, but what I haven't told you is about this, that then fills into that then goes into that, which then integrates there. And then you're like, oh, actually, this is a mess.
Yeah. Okay, nice. We even got a bonus pillar there. How about that? Yeah, I like the piece, the offline, online, offline thing. And I guess an example of that, and if this is naive or incorrect, let me know. But you go into a shoe store and they don't have your size, but you can order it there in store, and you've got someone, we can order this for you and have it delivered, etc. Which is something I come across a lot because I'm size 12. It's so rare that they actually have the size that my size. I went shopping, or I tried to shop for shoes when I was in Thailand on holiday, and people would just laugh in the shoe shops when I asked them for size 12 because obviously they're a bit smaller over there. So
I guess so. Just on that point, right? Like, yes, okay. So you've gone into the store, you've told them you're a size 12. Yes, okay, you can order online, but ideally, next time you go online and log into your account, I want to know that you're a size 12, and I'd ideally like my preferences showing just size 12 shoes, right? There is pointless showing you a size 5 shoe. Like, that just solves nothing. So if it doesn't have a size 12, do you start to think, okay, well, you may like Carousel or something similar, might not have shoes that are lady shoes, or might not have shoes that are size 3 shoes because they're not going to fit you, right? So we'll just show you the stuff that's relevant to you. And then you start to personalize, and then it starts to become more tailored and more of a one-to-one experience. And that's where brands are winning rather than this one size fits all.
Yeah, I love that, because you're right. There's no value in me seeing shoes that aren't available in my size. Like, there's just no point. So if there was a pop-up that says, okay, well, you see the 10% off pop-ups, but also just click your shoe size and we'll make sure we only show you shoes that are your size. Like, how awesome would that be? Because it would save me a bunch of time. And if it saves me time, I guess they're more likely to get the sale, right? Because I'm not going to...
I guess it also depends on the customer, right? Because I would say fairly stereotypical, but a guy would just be like, show me size 11, and when that's it, and I'll just quickly buy a pair, maybe 2 pairs. Whereas with lady, maybe they'll buy a size up and a size down, right? Or they might try and buy half sizes or whatever, and therefore just choosing your size might need a slightly different customer experience. A good example of this is Fourth Grade, and I mentioned earlier in their pet food quiz, and they're kind of how they're like, actually, what's your dog's kind of dietary requirements? How active are they? How old are they? And then it starts to build a meal plan accordingly. That feels a bit better, right? It feels like you're giving me a specialist service where you're taking the time to understand my dog and give recommendations. You're not just serving me, oh, it's a small dog, it must eat this. It's got a bit of complexity to it, which is cool.
Nice. James, you've unmuted, like you're going to ask.
I did, yeah. Do people buy gifts anymore for people in, like, is that a thing that stores optimize for at all? It's certainly something that we consider when we're thinking about email marketing. We want to know whether this customer's bought a gift for someone or not, because that will tailor how we communicate with them and how often we do. But like, yes. I think about a hyper personalized experience where, like, I'm only getting served the stuff that I buy. What if I see some trainers that Izzy likes, that Izzy might like, for example, or, something like that? Is that, like, the stores lose out on sales through over personalization sometimes, or is that just not really a big enough factor to worry about?
Yeah, I think it is. And I guess it's going to depend sector to sector. Like, there'll be certain industries, I guess, that are far more gift orientated to other sectors that perhaps not. Again, I would suggest that I wouldn't have maybe the whole homepage personalized or the whole PDP personalized. Maybe it's like a module or a series of components within it that when you're logged in, it slightly tailors the experience. Like, that to me feels helpful without just making sure I can never see a woman's shoe. And I'm like, okay, but I'm on this site for Nikki, so ideally I'd like to see some women's shoes. Yeah, I mean, it's getting harder to personalize as well because you don't know necessarily. And actually, that's where filtering and menus and that kind of thing comes in, right? That you just try and make it as easy as possible to say, actually, is for him, for her, for this age, for that age, for whatever it's going to be. Like, I see this more and more. But then, of course, you've got gender neutral, and actually, there's no longer this kind of Boolean black white kind of decision. There's like, actually, what about if you don't meet either of those criteria? Like, how do we satisfy those customers? And there was a great talk at Pulse last year around accessibility and diversity and inclusion. And actually, there was loads of things that rather ashamedly I hadn't really thought about as a consumer, where I'm like, actually, all the models look the same. And actually, there's no consideration to those in wheelchairs or those with visual impairment or that kind of thing. And I think actually brands that do cater to that audience, I think there's more and more people that are almost, I don't know. I think we've become much more inclusive as society, and I think more and more people expect that now. And if you're just seeing the same size, 12 male or 8 male or female, then you go, actually, maybe I'm going to look elsewhere. Some brands, I'm trying to think, there was a brand that was doing it really well. But you see it more and more on modeling shoots, right? Like your Calvin Kleins of the world, etc. They're not just going for your stereotypical tiny, thin, blonde male or female. They're going for a more accessible model that's more relatable.
Nice. Nath, when you're thinking about e-commerce stores, because obviously you position yourself as a bit of a trusted advisor for brands, right? And so you're serving them as a Shopify agency, but also identifying where they might have gaps in their wider mix, and making introductions and making recommendations from there. Just on that, what are some of the pillars that you think an e-com store needs to get right? And at this point, we're talking about stores that are fairly well established, not necessarily a startup, because then you need to be a bit smarter about where you're putting your money. But established stores, what should they be doing that's kind of non-negotiable?
So
and I'm talking about kind of marketing, I guess,
I guess there's like marketing channels and there's pillars, right? So for me, you're looking at, okay, well, if you took average order value as a pillar, like what are you doing to encourage people to spend more each basket size, like increase basket size, right? And then it's like lifetime value. How do I build a retention mechanism through maybe email marketing, through WhatsApp, through something else that encourages people to buy more frequently? And then you've got conversion when they get there in the first place. It goes, how do I get, of these 100 people sample size, how do I get more of them purchasing? And then it's just quality of traffic. And now I sometimes see that fourth pillar as just chucking the funnel full of traffic. And I'm like, actually, a classic is when we look at our stores and you look at some of the traffic and you see where it's coming from. Like, oh, we've had 500,000 visitors today. Okay, well, 430,000 have been from Belgium, and you don't ship to Belgium. So this is like totally pointless. And I think more and more brands need to look at like quality over quantity with that kind of thing. It's like, okay, how do I just get the right customer onto the store and then deliver the best experience possible? So when I'm looking at channel mix, I'm thinking, okay, is email, have you got kind of Klaviyo flow set up? What does that look like? I mean, most ecom brands are using Klaviyo, but there are others available, whether it be Dot Digital and Metro, et cetera, et cetera. Then if you look at maybe it's B2B, it might be more MailChimp related. If you come across like SEO, what are we doing with SEO? And everyone kind of goes, well, we'll just do Google ads because we're getting a faster return. The trouble is we're then on this kind of drug that we can't wean off of because we've never put the foundations in place. So I always say to brands, okay, by all means, if you're testing a concept, for sure, go for Google ads and Google shopping, etc. But don't neglect SEO, because at some point we're going to need it. And if we always neglect it, then we're always going to kind of be wired to having to use this channel and this channel only. Meta, what are we doing on Meta? Now, Meta doesn't have to be, not all channel has to drive conversion. Some can drive brand awareness and a bit higher up the funnel, maybe a bit more educational. I think affiliate's quite interesting at the moment. I don't think enough brands, there's the guys at Fair Forecast. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're nice chaps.
No.
And they do a lot around affiliate marketing. And essentially, I think it's attractive to brands of a certain size because there's no, like, after about £1 million, like, you're not really paying a retainer. It's a kind of no win, no fee, paying a percentage. Well, I think most brands are happy to share when you win, like they're happy to share. It's just a case of they don't want to take all the risk. So a lot of agencies go, yeah, okay, it's 10 grand a month and we're going to hope to achieve some results. And they're like, kind of like a bit more than hope. So when you can share, I think that's where they're winning quite well. TikTok's an interesting channel. I don't think it's right for every brand, but I think a lot of brands are getting good cut through on TikTok. But again, my only challenge, I guess, is there's so many channels and routes to market. WhatsApp I'm seeing booming at the moment, and more people move to WhatsApp away from SMS because the open rates are far higher, etc. But one thing I would say is don't get distracted by the bright lights of TikTok or see a few of our brands. One of the brands I invested in, Pot Candles, just gone on QVC. Like, amazing. But at the same time, like, have we got the core fundamentals in place of store, of email, of Meta, of Google? By all means, then start playing with the other stuff, but don't do that at the detriment. Oh, we're unbelievable on QVC, but our store's a bag of bones and we've got no other channels working for us. Like, I feel like that's a dangerous position to be in.
Yeah. Okay, nice. I like your approach there of having strategy and then tactics to deliver that strategy. So looking at lifetime value and average order value, and then asking yourself the question, how do I impact these? And then turning to your channels as tactics to achieve that.
Right.
How do you feel about discounting in general on e-commerce stores? And I think if we were to frame it as to one scenario, obviously it's really common practice for stores to have a pop-up to get you on an email list and give you 10% discount. How do you feel about that as a tactic?
Now being brand side as well, I resent it. But I also know there's a value in building my email list, albeit we haven't been intentional enough about it. So I think the power of community is massive, and we need to have some kind of value exchange. I don't think it always has to be discount. Can it be early access to certain products? Can it be exclusive access to events? Can it be FaceTime with the founder? Whatever it's going to be, there might be other perks that we can give that give the value exchange that is not money off. But I think for most people, time you've run, the cost of putting on an event or doing something like that, the cost of just giving X% off first time purchase is no bad thing. I like those mechanisms where it's like, you get 5 off and they get 5 off and you start to like refer out, etc., etc. That to me makes a bit more sense. Yeah, I see quite a lot of brands that have allowed stacking of those discounts, and so they've got the first time off one, but then they've combined another one, and suddenly they're at 40% off and have made no money on it. I think, that's not ideal. So yeah, I think discounting for a lot of brands is a necessary evil, a bit like Black Friday, right? People say, do you like Black Friday? And most people say, not really, but I can't afford not to do it. Most of my money comes in these few months. So, and I mean, Black Friday is now not Black Friday, right? It's like Black November or Black Q4. Like, it's a huge time. So, but that's where most brands make their money. So to just say no is incredibly ballsy. And some people do it, and some people donate to charity, and some people do those things, but you got to be confident, because actually this could make or break a business this time of year. So yeah, I mean, I for one, if I had to hang my colours to the mast, would say discounting is right for the right business, but I would love to split test other ways to build that reciprocal relationship that wasn't just money off. And the other thing is, do we just blanket it to anyone, or do we introduce it a little bit later in the buying journey? So for example, do we pop it up on PDP or once Sidecart's opened or something similar that I've already got a bit of buying intent? Or do I just chuck it to them within a second of landing on the site and I'm like, good God, I didn't even know I was going to purchase? I would love to just see how that impacts actually. Yeah, are we giving it at the right time, or are we just giving everyone the same level of discount? Can we cut discounts based on if they're logged in? Could the pop-up be different? Maybe if they've signed up to a newsletter, are they getting money off, or are they getting points or something else, or is it only on purchase? Yeah, I for one, if I had to choose one, like the exit pop-up, I prefer a pop on exit intent as opposed to just blanket it on arrival. But again, it's something for brands to try and test and see what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think that pop-up 10% whatever discount thing comes into its own if we frame it as we're not trying to secure a sale here necessarily. We're trying to secure a sale and get someone on our email list so that we can get them to buy for a second time where there's no discount, right? And that was something you touched on a little bit earlier. Cool. I'm conscious of time here, but I wanted to ask you on email marketing. because this is an email marketing podcast. We have to talk about it at some point. Where do you see email marketing in the mix? How important do you think it is? And like who should be looking at email marketing right now? Like what position would a brand need to be in for that to be super important for them?
If I put my Snoop hat on, I regret that we didn't get email marketing going earlier. We kind of got the site set up. We had a newsletter collecting email addresses. We had people signing up once they purchased product, etc. But we weren't doing anything with it, and those flows and campaigns weren't set up. And I think that's a mistake. And now we're correcting that. I think going forwards, to me, it's a non-negotiable. I would be as strong to say it's a non-negotiable. And whether I'm on this podcast or another podcast, it doesn't really matter. Like the fact is that you have a store and you need to retain customers and nurture customers and build community. And in today's world, community has never been more important. And I think if you are not nurturing an audience, if you are not communicating with your customer, if you are not building a community, you are losing in 21st century ecom. So I would say it's a non-negotiable. Is it the only channel, and is it going to generate loads and loads of sales? No. But at the same time, why are we keep spending money on trying to attract new customers when we aren't trying to sell more to existing customers? And I get it might be more sexy and exciting to win a new customer from Google Ads or Meta or something similar. But I tell you what, it's a damn sight more profitable selling to an existing customer. So I guess, what are you looking for? Top line revenue growth or bottom line profitability growth? And I think more and more businesses are waking up to the fact that running a business is more often than not around profitability, not around revenue. So let's make sure that we've got that core mechanism in place to sell more to existing customers, to send timely reminders or offers or promotions, to try and segment audiences, to build lists, to create different flows. Like, that to me is really important and so often overlooked, which is, well, madness. And those brands that maybe have it, the question is, okay, have we done it in-house? Have we done it with an agency a few years ago? Have we refreshed it? Have we reviewed it? Have we audited it? Like, imagine all of the channels we've talked about in that spider diagram. How do you audit each component and just try and squeeze another 10% of value? We talk a lot about marginal gains, right? It's not something that you set and forget. There are evolutions, there are improvements, there are changes. I dread to think how many brands are going into Black Friday with a Shopify store that's not been audited, with an email flow that's not been audited, with a Google ad setup that's not been audited, etc., on the basis that it's been fine up until now, so it'll be fine. And actually, if they had just spent the time just checking, and for sure, like, it doesn't mean they have to spend money like with an agency, they could just use a freelancer or something similar. But if they just got match fit, how much better could they perform over peak season?
Yeah. It's a non-negotiable. I mean, boom, there's our clip for the podcast there. Okay, nice.
We'll slip you that tenner later, Nathan.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you all right to go beyond? I know we're already 4 minutes past. Are you happy, Nathan?
I've got another 5 or so.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay, nice. I think we're ready for hot takes, to be fair.
Yeah, we'll go into that. So maybe thinking with again, Ecom hat on, looking at the next 6 months or looking at what's going on in the world with Ecom right now. Like, what is your hot take, Nathan?
Conversational commerce. Conversational commerce is where it's at. You look at agentic commerce, I believe it's called, and where it's going with AI and the recent ChatGPT integration into Shopify, and that's all super exciting. But making sure that you can communicate your customers wherever they want, whenever they want, is more and more important. And so, is that through email? Is that through WhatsApp? Is that through the phone? Is that through another mechanism? It doesn't matter, but you need to be able to respond to the customer on their terms. And if you don't, you're losing out.
Love it. James and I were talking about this exact thing last week. It's a string in our bow for sure. And I think you're right. It's going to be huge next year, especially the WhatsApp piece, I think.
I could see you guys having that as a service line, actually. Like, the email stuff is a component, but actually conversational commerce is like the overarching thread, and email is one of those. WhatsApp's one of those. Because a lot of agencies, again, they're going onto WhatsApp, they're going onto SMS, they haven't got flows set up. Like, the logic is fairly similar. It's just another touch point, right? But people haven't necessarily thought it through, built the flows, thought of the campaigns, thought actually, well, God's better than anyone. Like writing something in 15 words is harder than sometimes 500 words. And therefore those kind of things, like, yeah, I think there's a good opportunity there.
Yeah. Nice.
Nice.
Okay.
That is hot.
Yeah, he's hot. It's a great hot take.
It's a zinger.
It's another clip right there. That's a wasabi take.
That's a wasabi take, yeah.
That's literally rebranded. You've already got the Quickfire take, now I want the wasabi
take. And if they're bad hot takes, we can call them a baked bean take.
Yeah. Yeah, proper fish finger, that one.
Okay, I think we can wrap up. Nathan, it would be great for you to just give us a quick plug for Quickfire. Like, who do you help? How do they get in touch? What's the process? Whatever you want to say at this point.
Yeah, so, well, thank you guys for having me today. I always really enjoyed chatting with you both, and I've enjoyed today. I think for brands typically between 1 to 30 million looking to scale online, you might already be on Shopify looking to get more from existing store. The terminology we say is sweating the store harder, so improving conversion rate, average order value, repeat purchase. If that sounds familiar to you, then love to have a chat. Equally, if for some God-known reason you're still on a custom stack or a Magento or WooCommerce, etc., and you're thinking of Shopify, then always happy to have the conversation. It doesn't mean we necessarily need to work together, but happy to just give you some time, have a chat, talk about the things to look out for, the things to be mindful of. As I said earlier, it's unregulated, this space, and there's some fantastic agencies and freelancers and creatives in this space. Unfortunately, there are also some less fantastic people, and I would rather just like share with someone, like, before you do it, think about this, and this. I talk about kind of 4 costs when you're migrating a store. It's not just one cost. You don't just think, oh, it's 40 grand for the site, job done. Have you thought about payment fees? Have you thought about app fees? Have you thought about Shopify license fees? And then have you thought about the agency fees, not just the build fees, but the ongoing fees? And when you've mapped that out into a kind of total cost of ownership, then you know if you're ready to move or not. But don't just move on the basis of, the agency said it's 40 grand, so it's 40 grand. There are hidden costs that you haven't yet thought of. So yeah, if that again resonates and you think, oh, that's interesting, love to have a chat. Always happy to see you at events. We run a lot of events, so get in touch. You can come to those, or just drop us a message on LinkedIn or email. Nathan@quickfiredigital.com.
Nice. Thank you, Nath. James, any other questions for Nath before we wrap up?
No, I just want to say that, we've known Nathan since we started the Inbox Club. There are lots of agency founders out there who claim to be helpful, and they're just sort of like Trojan horsing in an offer. Like, Nathan is genuinely one of those guys that just wants to help people, from our experience and also what we've heard. So I guess what I'm saying here is that, like, if you're listening to this in your brand, you might have heard the spiel before about, get in touch, we just want to help. Nathan is legit and does genuinely want to help from everything that we know about him.
Yeah, he does. Super, super helpful. Will always give his time. Just make sure you check your fish fingers if he invites you around for dinner, because you never know what's hiding.
Fish fingers going. Guys, I feel like I'm at my own funeral. This is lovely. Yeah. Very nice.
Yeah. Now, what song would you like us to play you out on, Nathan?
Glory, Man United.
Yeah, too right. Yeah, when they win the Premier League. Fantastic.
I had a great uncle whose funeral song was that. So he got carried out of the church to Glory, Man United. Yeah.
Superb. I'm inspired. I'll let Nicky know.
There we go.
Lovely, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Good to chat.
Appreciate it. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers, Nathan.